Yo and hello and welcome to another edition of Showcase Showdown. Now that seemed pretty smooth right there coming from me. It's because I've been saying that a lot this season. I think I even have the whole thing down, but we're right off the heels of Showcase Showdown with Bob Feller, and I was the winner. Mike, how's it feel to be you today? How's it feel to be you today on the show?
I feel a lot like Kamala Harris does. Probably right now, dejected.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, that was just too easy, low hanging fruit. No, it was close with Bob Feller last week, and I love that actually. And it's close for the season. I'm only winning 6-5, and we have 3 more episodes this season. It could go either way right now, Chris. Either way.
But I just hear in your voice the confidence that you have today. Lou
Well,
Gehrig, I've never heard of him. So
Lou Gehrig says, and I had to wear
oh,
the shirt today because I'm feeling I'm maybe I shouldn't be confident. I don't know. I was pretty confident on Bob Feller, and look how that turned out. So
yeah, well, I don't know. It's going to be fun with the Lou Gehrig. Let's before we start talking about him, let's get some stuff that I want to take care of since I'm the host. This might be a little bit out of order, but I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. I mean, again, if you're going to be a sponsor of a YouTube video session, I think Showcase Showdown is probably the most fun thing that you could sponsor. And I'm not trying to drum up more sponsors or anything like that, but we got a good one in the Penny Sleever because we are sponsored by something that we use. And all I keep saying here is give them a try. What's it hurt to give them a try? They protect our products. We've used products for a long time, just like theirs, but theirs is better. So give me a list of some of their products, Mike. So I don't
semi-rigids, top loaders, penny sleeves, magnetics, you name it. They're working on, hopefully for season 3, we're going to be able to talk about all of their vintage specific, set specific products that they're coming out with. They're working on all that right now, hard in the R&D department at the Penny Sleever. So it's going to be a unique experience going forward. I'm looking forward to them having the custom fits, the perfect fit sleeves for slabs, because I'd much rather buy theirs than where I'm buying them now. So some cool things coming down the pipe, but right now go check them out and see if there's anything that strikes your fancy. Use the code SHOWCASE while you're doing that, and you get 10% off your order, and keep using that. And if you stop moving your camera, you're making me sick, and probably half of our audience, they're all going,
yeah, sorry about that.
Like, are we on the Love Boat or something here? What's going on?
Oh, I got a floating table, and that's dangest thing.
Something's
See,
floating.
the Penny Sleever needs to create a better table for me is what they need to do. So,
well, the links and stuff will all be down below. You can check them out and use them if you feel so inclined.
Okay, so Mike, today, Lou Gehrig, I'm actually excited to see your cards. I'm proud of my Lou Gehrig collection, but when you wrote Lou Gehrig up on the wheel, you were happy to put it up there. First of all, I am nervous to challenge you on this, but what I am happy to see is I get my Lou Gehrig cards out again. So tell everybody how this game's played. And you've been in that seat enough this year. You should probably have that part down too.
I'll do my best, Chris. It's hard to, do it as well as you, but if you have any Lou Gehrig cards from his playing days, and we get that having Lou Gehrig cards from his playing days is not the easiest thing. We're going to show a bunch of other cool stuff that can get you some Lou Gehrig cards in your collection beyond his playing days cards. But whatever of those you have, hit pause real quick, go grab those, and we're going to count them down. There's only 6 cards in the PSA set registry for Lou Gehrig, so we're going to show any of those that we have. If you have the card, that's 5 points. whatever the numeric grade is, you get to add that on top of. We'll add up the scores at the end. Rookie cards are worth double, and whoever wins, Mike, will take a commanding 7-5 lead, or it could be tied at the end of this one. We'll see.
So tell our watchers that didn't. Well, first of all, if you didn't watch your last showcase Showdown, go watch it right now, and watch it again and again and again. But how close was Showcase Showdown, Bob Feller?
1/2 of a point. Half of a point.
One half of a point. And what we had 14 cards, correct? Is that what it was?
Feels right. Sure.
Okay. How many cards do we have today?
6.
So,
few less.
Okay. So do you want to get this thing kicked off?
Yeah.
Let's not start to run yet. Why don't you show us some pretty things and talk? Why don't you give us a talk about what Lou Gehrig and what you're going to show us?
Well, yeah. I mean, most people that watch this channel know that Lou Gehrig is my favorite player of all time, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I never saw Lou Gehrig play, and a lot of people would say, well, how can a player you never saw play be your favorite player? And the simple answer to that is because I've learned about him over the years and the decades, and I've read books about him, and I've read stories, and I watched things on documentaries, and he was so, first of all, he was an amazing person. He was so calm. He was cool, collected. He was in an era of Yankees greatness alongside Babe Ruth. I mean, you're talking about the two of the greatest players ever batting back to back in that Yankees lineup through the 20s and then the 30s. It was an amazing run. He really played only 14 full seasons, Chris, and he has a WAR of 113 for his career. Incredible. It is bonkers. He is easily the best first baseman of all time. There is not even, I mean, to me, there's no one else even close. Maybe Keith Hernandez might be second or something like that. But no, Steve Balboni for your Royals. No, he was so good. And he was the calming influence and chill compared to the chaos and the circus of Babe Ruth. And they kind of were like ham and eggs. They just went well together. And, they were good friends. They had some falling out, some things about Lou Gehrig's mom, and then, kind of came back together towards the end because Gehrig predeceased Ruth. And obviously Lou Gehrig and his famous speech, greatest, luckiest man on the face of the earth, and his diagnosis with ALS and subsequent death from that. There's a book called The Luckiest Man that I would, if you want to learn a lot about Lou Gehrig, that's probably what I consider the best biography of him. It's absolutely fantastic. Talks a lot about his personal life. And he went to Columbia, to play baseball, and New York kid and playing for the Yankees. I mean, it's an amazing story, and he is worth every bit of accolades that we can throw on him. He actually received Hall of Fame votes, Chris, while he was still playing in 1936. He was on 22% of the ballots. I think they hadn't figured out that, wait, he's got to be retired first. And guys are just putting in Lou Gehrig, like, hell yeah, Lou Gehrig's in the Hall of Fame. Like, wait, let's wait. He was elected in a special election in 1939, that's only happened twice for Gehrig, and then Clemente, they did that. But he's an iconic player, and I use that word very carefully and very intentionally. Amazing guy, and he played for the Yankees, and I still love him just because of who he was as a person and a player, and what he dealt with, and how he lived his life. So, if you want to collect Lou Gehrig cards, like we talked about earlier, playing days cards are expensive, but he has been in so many sets over the years, including some vintage sets. Pre-1980 stuff, all-time people. But let me show you. Can I show a couple cards, Chris? Is that okay?
I would love for you to before we get started.
one of the newest cards I have of Gehrig. I mean, let me put us in showdown mode here. Sorry. But this is his 2023 Topps Living card. He was card number 600 in that set. And that's a pretty iconic picture of Gehrig. You see this a lot on cards and stuff, but the 53 Topps design. Well, that wasn't enough for Topps because he was in their 2022 Platinum Anniversary, also the 53 Topps design. This is a refractor. So you can get like cool, shiny cards with Gehrig. I actually love new cards with old players. I gravitate towards that. Here is a 2011 Topps. This is the Diamond Anniversary. Gehrig fielding. Looks like he's playing third, but I think it's just, I think they just reversed the image, truthfully. He's on a bunch of Stadium Club cards, cool stuff like that. He's got, this is a 2011 or 2010 maybe, Topps Chrome. This was a Rapper Redemption refractor thing. I mean, he's got a lot of great cards, and maybe my favorite of the more modern stuff, 07 Upper Deck, but it's printed in the 89 design. And it's, of course, that great famous Lou Gehrig day, him bowing his head in humility as he's being cheered by the Yankee Stadium crowd, and he's given his, famous speech. And I mean, what a great image that is. In fact, that's the image of my channel. I mean, if you think of like what's in my little avatar is this picture. Wow. So yeah, you want to show a couple, then I'll show a couple more. And
sure. One of the things I wanted to say is, he's the face of a horrible, horrible disease, and amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, right? That's ALS. So I wrote a paper on him, a speech on him for the American Legion, and I did not win the speech because I stutter and stammer around since I've been 12, but I had many, I just remember this as a kid, many of the people at the American Legion where I gave this speech, older guys brought to tears not because of my, talking, but because of him and his story and the disease itself. And it affects so many people. And I was so glad I learned about him as a young kid. And I too think he is by the greatest first baseman by far. And what a strapping dude. I mean, a good looking dude, a strong, if you see, there's a picture of him swinging without his shirt on. And my God, he's built like a Greek god. As a matter of fact, he auditioned for Tarzan. And there's pictures of him auditioning for Tarzan. And I mean, just what a guy that separated himself from everybody else physically. He was just that good a guy. This is one of my favorite cards, and this is a famous photo as well. This is the 1961 Golden Press Lou Gehrig, and then I just love that card. That also is not a very expensive card. If you want to get some Hall of Famers, look for some Golden Press cards. You'll have everyone in there's a Hall of Famer, and you can get them, and they're not very expensive. And then the one I want to show, and I know you have this, and when you showed it, I had to have it. And you showed this a couple of years ago, and this is, I usually call this a Babe Ruth card, but even the slab got it right, because they call it a Gehrig Ruth, and that's after Ruth's home run, and that's the handshake, and that's a famous photo. And I really do enjoy this photo here. I don't like a lot of cards that have more than one Hall of Famer, unlike you, because I've heard you say you like multiple players on the cards. I don't, but I got a Lou Gehrig Babe Ruth on the same card, and
that's from 49 Swell Sports.
Yes,
Sports Greats. He's got a couple of these out there. This is the 1970 Rolled Gold Pretzels. Yes. Babe Ruth, all-time greats, greatest first baseman, right? He's also in the 72 Kellogg's, same set, basically. So there's a rolled gold from 1970. You can only tell by the copyright on the back. They look the exact same. But I have both of those. I just pulled the rolled gold because it was easy to grab. But that's a great looking card. And these are not, like you said, super expensive, and you don't have to buy them slabbed either. You can buy them raw. And I have tons. I have a stack of Lou Gehrig post playing days raw cards that I've either been gifted or bought or acquired at shows or whatever. Every time I see a Lou Gehrig card, I buy it, and I usually come home and find out I have it. My goal is, once I get in a new card room, eventually I will do a binder with just my Gehrig stuff, all my Gehrig loose cards, and have that to look through and peruse as I feel the desire to do it. I have one playing days card that's not on the list that I want to show. And that's this one, 1929 Cashin.
Wow.
This was acquired through the the Grail collection, not the basement collection. That's a different collection. But the Grail collection, I was able to keep this as part of that. Originally I thought I was going to have to sell it, but truth is I just couldn't part with it. I wasn't going to let it go. It's just too cool. Great, huge image of Gehrig. And, he's got a 49 leaf, the big ones. Why am I going blank? The box toppers, basically.
Yes.
I think Gehrig's in that. Ruth is in that, I think. But there's lots of cool stuff that you can get of Gehrig that are non-playing days. So everybody needs some Gehrig in their collection, I would say. So you ready to get to it?
I'm ready to show some cards, but feel free to stop and talk about the cards. And a question I was going to ask you before we got going. Do they have like Perez still drawings of Lou Gehrig?
Yeah, so he has a base Hall of Fame postcard. And that's it in terms of Perez steel.
Is it in this celebration? 100
Nope.
Celebration?
He's not in the celebration set. Perez did the celebration set with only living players at the time because he wanted it to be an autograph set that people would go get autographed. That was kind of Perez's thought. So he only used living players for that one.
Okay. We'll see. Learn something new every day.
There you go.
So listen, be gentle. Be gentle. We only have, 6 cards?
There's only 6. So, and I'll tell you right now, I don't have them all. So, but we'll start with the first one we'll do is we go newest to oldest. That's how we do this. So 34 Gaudis are his last. He happens to have 2 in that set. The earliest one in that set is card number 37. That's the yellow background is what it's typically known as. And I have that in an SGC2.
I have that in an authentic, but
okay.
I have that card.
Yeah,
I love it.
Look at the colors on that. I mean,
the color on your card is that's awesome.
Awesome. Numeric grade be damned. Really, honestly, whatever. Right. I don't really care. Let me get over to the score sheet because you get 5 for having the card. The second card he has is the green background, which I like them both. Like some people like one more than the other. I don't know that I have a 1.5 in mine. I bought this raw and graded it myself.
An authentic in mine.
Okay.
And again, that I could stop right now in my Gehrig collection, even though I don't want to.
Right.
But those again, we've never. This is kind of a weird show for me because he's the first player that we've showed of any of the players that I almost feel like I need to apologize for having multiple Gehrig cards. Because the reason I say that is I have 3 cards. His other 3 cards are on the top of my list. They really are to try to get. And it just seemed, I don't know, I've never felt like this before because I think it might be Gehrig himself that I think everybody should have one and everybody doesn't have one But if you're a vintage collector, you need one. I mean,
Yeah.
I want you to have one, but I don't want to give you mine. I mean, I don't feel that bad. But you know what I'm saying? Because it, I I showed one on George Brett. I showed that I had 9 George Brett cards, right? And that's just stupid of me. And I to have 9 cards, but I want every vintage collector to have a Lou Gehrig card.
For
So
sure.
that's why I feel like that. Yeah.
Well, next up, we go to 33, and we've got he's in the 33 Gaudy set, and he's in it twice. He's card number 61, or I'm sorry, 92 and 160. Same picture, just 2 different card numbers, but I only happen to have the card 92, and I have it in a 2.
Well, I wish I had the other card because I would have not been shut out today. I have card number 92 and a 1 MK. And you can see the MK on this with the little mark behind his back leg there.
I see it. I will tell you, Chris, that the card I just showed, that this Gehrig, was the first really big card I ever bought, and I paid $700 and something for it. And I thought, I'll never spend, like, this is the most I'll ever spend on a card ever. Because I was much younger. This was 14, 15 years ago, and I just totally thought that was the pinnacle of my collecting. Like, I've reached the top. I've got an actual Lou Gehrig card. I don't care that it was a 2. It's, none of that mattered. I was just excited to have one. And yeah, how things have changed over time. But yeah, at the time, that was the most expensive card I ever bought. So,
well, my quick little story on this card is the day I met you, I got this card.
Oh, really?
Met you in person. So we're at Chicago National, and that first day I was there before your get together. I want to make sure, I don't want to lie, but this card was like this. It was before your get together. I'm wrong. I think it was in Jersey, but anyway, it was before your get together. I got a Ted Williams Leaf because that was my hunt card, and I bought it the very first card when I walked into the show. The last 5 minutes of the show, as I'm leaving, I come up to this table, and I saw this card right here. I saw it, and I thought, man, I got to have that. And so I traded the guy the Ted Williams card that I got at the beginning of the show, and I walked home with this Lou Gehrig, and I remember bringing it over because I bringing it over to your get together and showing it off there. But yes, and you have it on your video, the first public viewing of this card that was in my possession. So there you go.
Well, the 160 is definitely on my list. I don't consider it like huge priority, but it is a 300 great card. Ironically, both cards are in the 300 great cards list. So, and I'd like to own it. I feel like there's other stuff I'd rather get since I have basically the same card with a different card number. It feels less important for some reason, right or wrong. I don't know. 2 to go. You don't even want to know the score, but
hey, I have a score though.
You do have a score. He's got the 33 DeLong is actually on his set registry, which, again, if you watch this show, you know how much that card means to me. And here is mine in a 2.5. Thank you, John Keating. Thank you, Grail Collection. Of any of the cards that I was going to keep out of that, it was going to be this one. I ended up keeping many more. But this one was going to come home with me and be forever in my collection. And it's an SGC 2.5. I don't, everybody's, are you going to cross that? Maybe, I don't know. It looks pretty good in the tux, right? So it's that DeLong set is so beautiful to me. I'll just keep showing it. Why not? It's just that pretty.
So I saw you hunting for that card. Not that card, but I saw you. Lou Gehrig DeLong meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
You were at National, and I remember looking at that card with you. I remember you were like pacing, and Craig, the dealer, was giving you a pretty good deal, but a pretty good deal on a DeLong Gehrig can empty your pockets pretty quick. And I remember you got some other people's advice. You called your wife, and it was. I remember that hunt for you, and that I know how big a card that is for you.
And it's ironic that I passed on it. I felt I don't usually feel this way, but I was feeling I'd already used a lion's share of my budget for the National, and I try to stick within a budget. It's not that I didn't have other money. It's I didn't want to. That wasn't what we had it earmarked for as a family. And so when I talked to Julie, she said, "Hey, I trust you. You do, if you want to get it, you can get it." She gave me permission to do it. And I just felt this, no, it's not, I can get one down the road when I'm better prepared budget wise for that. And it turned out to work out pretty darn good in the end. And so that was usually I regret not buying certain cards because today's high prices are tomorrow's discounts.
Right.
But, and especially on a card like that, it's only gone up. But I passed, and I'm glad I did because it ended up getting to me a different way and a better way. And so I'm thrilled to death to finally have it. And his last card, I don't think either one of us have. And that, or I say his last card, his newest, or what they consider his rookie card, is the 32 US Caramel. I can tell you stories about seeing that card so many times and passing on buying it. And that's when I look back and go, I mean, I could have bought a 3 or a 4 back in the day for $400 or $500.
Right.
And I don't know why I never did it. I just feel like a dope now that I never did. But that's a very tough card to find now. Most of them are locked away now in people's collections because it's a tough card. It's another 300 great card as well. It's on that list for Mike Payne. So you don't have that one, do you? Are you going to surprise me with, hey, I just bought something the other day?
I do not. But listen, that card was at Strongsville last year.
What was the price tag?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. I know I didn't have enough money in my wallet. It wasn't in great shape. So I think it was, $7,000, I think. And it was,
a decent, a 2 or 3 is going to run you 12 to 15,000, and it's
this deserved to be in my collection the way it looked, but that's, I didn't want to spend that much money, but
right.
I tell you what, if we see one up there together, if we see one together this coming year, then we'll have to arm wrestle for it or something.
Maybe we can jointly own it, and you just keep it half the year and I keep it half the year. So.
Love it. That'd be great.
That's the only way I could make it make sense. But someday, maybe, winning the lottery would be helpful, or, some unknown relative leaving me lots of money that I don't know about. But man, okay. Obviously I won, right?
I tell you what, to see those cards again, I'd come back and stand in line and get another beating. I'll tell you.
Well, officially 28-15, just so everybody, those that are keeping score at home, was the final score. Not a lot of cards, but great cards. We could sit there and just have a whole episode on any of those. They're that good. And so now, oh, you know what's coming, Chris. You know what's coming.
I'm not fretting this wheel like I did when Lou Gehrig was on there. Now that that's over,
we just pulled the Band-Aid off of Lou Gehrig. We're done with that. And we're down to, and then there were only 2. Larry Doby, Whitey Ford. Let's see who we're doing next week. It's pretty weird when it's just looks like it's Doby. So easy.
That's awesome.
So Larry Doby will be the next to last, the penultimate episode of this year or this season's not chasing cardboard. What show is this called? Showcase Showdown.
Showdown.
That too. Larry Doby will be next week. Chris, your reign at the top is never long, but it's never short enough. Let me tell you that.
Now this, I'm telling people watching this thing's not over. This Showcase Showdown, we got 2 more left, and I tell you what, you're gonna know that you were in for a challenge. Just telling you right here. Okay.
Are you going to steal somebody's collection? Come on.
Maybe there's a card show down next week.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week, and I'll be on the other side or that side. We'll talk to you guys soon. Keep collecting.